It's 11 weeks now since the Brisbane floods. The waters have receded, and with some serious hiccups along the way, homes and businesses are trying to get back to normal. But Strapped for Cash volunteer organisations fear they've fallen through the cracks for funding in the aftermath of the floods. They're struggling to rebuild because they often don't fit the criteria for assistance. And if they do, the money they've already spent during the recovery can't be reimbursed. So they're coming up with unique and novel ways of raising much-needed funds to rebuild familiar places and reinstate the smaller things in their lives that bring so much pleasure. Here's Francine Norton again.
Dog lovers are a sociable bunch, but with the floods leaving nowhere to go, they turn to social media to do their walking and talking.
I thought, right, I entered straight away. So I entered my pup, and I've got a 7-year-old dog. I entered him as well. And I just think it's a great, fun way to raise money.
They've primped and preened their furry friends, ready for the virtual catwalk.
People are entering their own dogs, they're entering cats, they're entering budgies. We're prepared to take anything as long as people are prepared to give us some money.
The animals don't even have to be alive to resurrect their careers.
I think we called it from memory, it's the Rainbow Bridge class to enter the passed on dogs. Dog people are very sentimental, very passionate, very attached to their dogs, and especially their old champions and that sort of thing. And it's a quite typical dog thing, I think.
There's no venue, no judging and no winners. But in the dog show circuit, competition can still be tough.
At the end of the day, there's always sportsmanship, and it usually ends everybody happy. I mean, everybody always has their own opinion. It's competitive, we'll leave it at that.
The contestants in the virtual dog show are raising money to help their three-dimensional companions. At Brisbane's oldest dog obedience club in Oxley, these owners and their pooches are having their first training session since long before the floods hit.
Exercise finished. Give them plenty of praise, a bit of a pat, a bit of a play. Good stuff.
With nowhere to let loose, the rain was causing cabin fever. The Obedience Dog Club of Brisbane is a not-for-profit organisation run by volunteers. It has a proud history stretching back 50 years.
Yeah, we have members who've had a long association with this club. We have a couple of members who've been associated with it since the 1960s and 70s, and they have a very close emotional attachment to the club and the history that's here. Unfortunately, our filing cabinet with all that history was lost.
Okay guys, this is your clubhouse.
Like much of the neighbourhood, the club wasn't spared when the river rose.
See how high it must have got because there's little articles along the top of the roof. I didn't actually think it had come up as far as it did when we left. I thought it was, maybe people exaggerating it and that sort of thing. I didn't think it would go over the roof, yeah. Just the smell of it, everything stank and, just the water was everywhere. Everyone was worried about not only the club but houses around and that sort of thing. So, it was very surreal.
The muddy mess it left behind is having lingering effects. Community groups like this one face huge hurdles to get back on their feet.
The Centrelink and state government assistance packages that were available after the floods were for residences and small businesses, so we don't fall into that category. And we don't classify as a sport and recreation club, so that made it very difficult for us in terms of trying to support the club financially.
Now they're trying to weigh up what they can and can't do without.
The clubhouse is pretty much being gutted, but we can do without electricity and drinks and things like that, but we need our grounds up to scratch and we need our toilet facilities.
The popularity of initiatives like the virtual dog show point to the importance of community groups like this one.
Whether they're a scout group, a bowls club, a dog club, a gymnastics group, that give people something that they can be involved in and meet like-minded people.
And with the help of the virtual community, the future is looking bright.
It's our 50th anniversary this year and we'd like to celebrate it in other ways, but I think the flood recovery effort will be our focus this year, and we'd like to think that in 12 months' time we might be back to where we were in 2010. So I think we're hopeful, we're very hopeful.
Francine Norton reporting.